Email's dead. Email doesn't work for me. I hear that all the time. And you know what? I hear it from the marketers and the people sending out email that don't pay attention to the smallest, littlest thing. Everybody has it backwards. We spend all this time with the emails that we're creating, the best pictures and images, the best copy in our emails. Is it getting approved? Is it compliant? All of that. But we don't focus on the most important thing, which is how am I going to get my email open? And there are a series of little things that you can do to get your email open, because here's the secret. If they don't open up the email, who cares what's on the inside? Who cares what your offer is? Who cares what it looks like? Who cares what your copy says? No one's ever going to see it. So what are the little things that cost you no money you could do on any platform you're sending out email on, and it takes about 5 seconds to do? Well, let's start with the subject line. The subject line is the greatest thing on earth. Why? Because everybody gets the same playing field. The size of your subject line when you're sending out is the same size subject line the NFL gets when they send out an email, the same size that Amazon gets, that Apple gets, that Salesforce gets. Everybody gets the same amount of real estate. And it's the coolest thing in marketing. You get to compete against the biggest brands on the planet with the same amount of real estate, and you could see if you can win. And there are little things that you can do to get your email open that they're not doing. There's nothing else like it. Can you go buy a Super Bowl ad? I don't think so. Can you buy every search engine ad that you want to do? No. Can you beat the algorithm on social and have your posts show up when you want them to? No. But that subject line is gold for that reason. So what can you do to get your emails open and other people's aren't? Well, first off, the biggest myth that people always talk about is how long your subject line should be. Oh, it should be 50 characters. It should be 60 characters. Who cares? That's ridiculous. And I'll tell you why. Nobody is reading your entire subject line. They're not. They're reading the first few characters, the first few words. You could put at the end of your subject line, Jay is a big loser. No one will ever see it because you don't read the whole subject line. We're all doing that social scroll in our inbox. That is how we look at our email. So what we're really focused on, even though we don't realize it's in our subconscious, we're looking at the first few characters of that subject line. That is how we are determining whether or not we're going to open it up. So what can you do in those first few characters to get that email open? The first one is to use a number, an actual number, 7, 3, 9, 11, doesn't matter. You want it to be a number. Why? Numbers stand out. They catch our eye just a little bit. When you start your subject line with a number, according to subjectline.com, okay, it will lift the percentage of people opening up your emails by close to 20%. So what does that mean? Things like this: the 5 pitfalls to avoid for HR directors, the 3 hottest fashion trends you need to know this summer, the 9 things every small business owner knows. It is easy to digest. It feels authoritative. You know exactly what you're going to get out of it, and it stands out just a little bit. So starting with a number is super easy. Another one is brackets, and people don't use this one enough. You start your subject line with brackets, and you put in 1 to 2 words in those brackets, whatever the most important thing is that you're trying to promote within the brackets at the start of your subject line. It might say just released. It might say new. It might say live event. It might say biggest sale. You put it in brackets, and then you put your rest of your subject line after that. That will give you an open rate increase of about 15%. Now, when I say numbers and I say brackets, you're out there and you're saying, oh, wait a minute, that's going to cause me to go to the junk folder or the spam folder, because if you put certain things in your subject line or your body copy or your headline, that's what causes you to go to the junk folder or spam folder. And it's just not true. That's information from 10 years ago. 10 years ago, okay, if you did that, yeah, you would go to the junk folder, spam folder, because the receiving email systems, that's what they were looking for. But technology has advanced. That is not why you go to the junk folder or spam folder anymore. The reason you go to the junk folder or spam folder is if you don't have a lot of engagement with the people that you are emailing to, if they're not opening, clicking, and responding and doing with your email. So the irony is the things that you are avoiding doing, like brackets, like numbers, okay, in the subject line. Maybe the word free, you're nervous to use that. Maybe a question mark, right? Maybe an emoji, you're nervous to use all of these things. Those are actually the things that when you put them in your subject line, they're increasing the number of people opening up your emails. They're increasing your engagement. They're actually helping you to stay in the inbox. The things that you think are causing you to go to the junk folder are actually things you need to be doing to actually stay in that inbox. Now, Other things you can do at the start of your subject line that are so easy: capitalization. This is another one of those things everyone's like, oh my God, it's going to cause me to go to the junk folder. No, that was 10 years ago. When you capitalize an entire word, not just the first letter. So let's say it's the word new, N-E-W, capitalize each letter, and you put that at the start of your subject line. Or it says just released, and you capitalize all the letters in those two words. Of course, it stands out. It does incredibly well. This will lift your email open rates by about 22%, according to subjectline.com, because again, you're doing that social scroll and you see it, and it stands out. Listen, these little things add up. And you're like, oh, this feels gimmicky, this feels cheesy, this feels whatever. Go to your inbox. And the big thing is, I said, go to your inbox, not your junk folder. Go to your inbox, and I want you to look at the first word, 2 words, the first few characters of every subject line of all the best brands that are emailing you. And I want you to look at what they're doing. They're very intentional about those first few characters, because they know if you hook somebody with those first few characters, they will read more, they will open it up. Okay? Now, after the subject line, what do people look at next? They look at the preheader. That's that grayed out second subject line that's below the subject line. That is your preheader. Now, again, people make the big mistake and they go, well, how long can it be? And the number is actually 85 characters, but who cares? It's not about how long it should be. That preheader is golden real estate. And what you want to be using there is doing one of two things, okay? You want to be using continuation words. What are continuation words? And, but, and plus. Those are the 3 magic words. When you write your subject line, let's say your offer is, 30% off whatever, or you have a new free guide you want people to download, whatever it is, and you write that in the subject line. Then in that preheader, you capitalize the first word of the preheader, and you have it say either and, but, or plus. Those are continuation words. And when people see that out of the corner of their eye, they continue reading. So they'll say, oh, 30% off whatever. And they'll say, and free shipping, check inside. Oh, there's a new guide and new stat that you need to see. When you have it be a continuation from the subject line, it ties it together and it gets people to open up the email. The way you want to think about email marketing in general is this. It's like a chain of events. Okay, you have that subject line. Okay, I'm interested. Next, my preheader. Oh, I'm interested. Now you opened up. Now you have a headline. Oh, I'm interested. The first line of your email, I'm interested. If anywhere in that chain something breaks, you lose that person's interest at any moment, they're done. That's why you want to start out strong. You want to have them do the continuation with the and, but, plus, okay? And then you want to go right into your headline and all of that. Now, also in the preheader, which is one of the biggest trends in email marketing, is something called bookend emojis. If you've never tested this, this is a super cool, easy test. In the preheader, again, that's that second subject line. You want to start and end that preheader with the same emoji, whatever it is. It could be a check mark if you're a business marketer. It could be something fun like fire emojis if you're a consumer marketer. Whatever it is, you want to bookend the start and end of your preheader, whatever you're saying in that preheader, with that same emoji. Right now, in the last 3 months, that is helping to lift open rates by about another 15%. Again, all these tactics might sound ridiculous and small and whatever, but these are the difference between getting somebody to say, yeah, email does well for me, and email is terrible for me. It's all about the little things. And we have to focus on first, how do we get that email opened? And then we can get into what's our offer, what's our creative, when are we sending it out? All of these different things. But so often we just have it backwards. We're focused on the wrong part of email. So subject line, easy. Preheader, easy. Let's get those emails open.